everyone, welcome back to English class. In the last class, we were discussing a story titled as The Ashes That Made Trees Blue. And in the last class, we discussed the first part. Did you remember that? Okay, so let's have a quick recap about the story. Are you ready? Okay, so let me ask you a few questions. Why did the neighbors kill the dog? Why did the neighbors kill the dog? Because they didn't get any treasure. The dog didn't give them any treasure, so the neighbors killed that dog. One day, when the rice farmer was sleeping, the spirit of dog came into his dream, and the dog said that you have to cut out the pine tree and you have to make and what all things you have to make? Yes, you have to make a mill and a mortar to make rice pastry and bean sauce. And likewise, the old farmer, the poor farmer and his wife did so. And they made like that. And they started making on the time of New Year, they started making rice pastries and also bean sauce. And when they put rice into that mill, and after few times that bean sauce and that rice pastries turns to gold coins, and the whole world came to know about that. And by hearing that, that big couple were also really jealous towards that poor farmer and his wife. Then they borrowed that mill and mortar from them, and instead of gold coins, that big couple got some kind of worms. And by seeing that, they were really angry towards that couple, and they cut that mortar and mill into two pieces, and they made that to firewood, and they burned that, and that mill and mortar turns to ashes. And again, so let's discuss the remaining portion. So all of you get ready, take page number 60, part 2. Not long after that, the good old man dreamed again, and the spirit of the god spoke to him, telling him how the wicked couple had burned the mill made from the pine tree. Take the ashes of the mill, sprinkle them on the withered trees, and they will bloom again, said the dog spirit. Again, the next night, when that rice farmer was sleeping, again the spirit of dog came to his dream, and the dog told the farmer that wicked couple burnt that mill and mortar. And now what you have to do is you have to collect the ashes of that firewood, and you have to sprinkle, and you have to put that ashes in some of the trees. That was not like withered means bare and dry. And that is the time of winter season. So all the tree seems to be very dry, and you have to put that ashes in some of the trees. And the old man awoke and went at once to the wicked neighbor's house, where he found the miserable old pair sitting at the edge of their square fireplace, in the middle of the floor, smoking and spinning. From the time to time, they warmed their hands and feet with the blaze from some bits of the mill, while behind them lay a pile of the broken pieces. The good old man humbly asked for the ashes, though the covetous couple turned up their noses at him and scolded him as if he were a thief. They let him fill his basket with the ashes. Then after that, likewise the dog spirit said, the rice farmer went to the wicked couple's house to collect some ashes, but they don't give that ashes. Then after some time, the farmer itself took some of the ashes in his basket. On coming home, the old man took his wife into the garden. It being winter, their favorite cherry tree was bare. And I told that was a winter season, and in the winter season we can see all the trees were very dry, and there will be no leaves, no any fruits, no any flowers in the trees. And by collecting that ashes, that rice farmer and his wife went to their garden. For what? He sprinkled a pinch of ashes on it, and lo, it sprouted blossoms until it became a cloud of pink blossoms which perfumed the air. The news of this filled the village, and everyone ran out to see the wonder. And the rice farmer and his wife reached near their cherry tree, and they took some of the ashes and they put some of the ashes in the cherry tree. And after some time, yes, that cherry tree blossomed, and the good smell of the flowers, cherry flowers, leaves, everything blossomed. And by seeing that, they were really surprised what was happening here. Then this thing, the whole world came to know about this magic ash. The covetous couple also heard the story and, gathering up the remaining ashes of the mill, kept them to make withered trees blossom. The kind old man, hearing that his lord the daimyo was passed along the high road near the village, set out to see him, taking his basket of ashes. As the train approached, he climbed up into an old withered cherry tree that stood by the wayside, and the whole world came to know about this magic ashes of this rice farmer. And the next day, there was happening something. That means the daimyos, that means the lord of that place, were taking procession through that place. And that daimyos, that is the name of the lord. And while the daimyos were traveling in that train, nobody should stand behind. Oh, while that procession were going through, all should be moved backwards and that procession should be goes on. That is the custom in that place. And by hearing about the daimyo's procession, that rice farmer decided something. And now in the days of daimyos, it was the custom when their lord passes by for all the loyal people to shut up their high windows. They even pasted them fast with a slip of paper so as not to commit the impertinence of looking down on his lordship. All the people along the road would fall upon their hands and knees and remain prostrate until the procession passed by. Note down the word impertinence. Impertinence means no respect, showing no respect, and the next word prostrate, lying on the ground face forward. So while that procession was going on, all the people in that place should be lie on the road. That means they should show their respect to that daimyos, that means the lord. And that procession was going on. At that time, all the people should close their windows in their houses. That means they should show their respect to that lord daimyos while that procession. And that was a custom. The train drew near. One tall, competent man marched ahead, crying out to the people by way, "Get down on your knees, get down on your knees." And everyone kneeled down while the procession was passing. Suddenly, the leader of the van caught sight of the aged man upon the tree. He was about to call out to him in an angry tone, but seeing he was such an old fellow, he pretended not to notice him and passed him by. So when the daimyo's palanquin drew near, the old man, taking a pinch of ashes from his basket, scattered it over the tree. In a moment, it burst into blossom. So when that procession was going on, where was the rice farmer? Yes, he was in one of the tree. He climbed the tree, and when that procession was going on, he took some of the ashes and he put in the tree. And suddenly what happened? Yes, that particular tree was blossomed. And by seeing that, the daimyos, that lord, was really surprised. What was happening here? Wow, that is really good. The delighted daimyo ordered the train to be stopped and got out to see the wonder. Calling the old man to him, he thanked him and ordered presents to silk robes, sponge cakes, fans, and other rewards to be given him. He even invited him to his castle. And by seeing this, the daimyo was really surprised and he was really happy to see one particular tree was blossoming, that blossom tree. Actually, that was the magical power of that ash. And by seeing that, he was really happy and he gave many gifts like sponge cake and silk dresses and fans, everything. The many gifts were given to that poor couple, the rice farmer and his wife, and even the daimyos invited the poor couple to his palace too. So the old man went gleefully home to share his joy with his dear old wife. Note down the word gleefully. Gleefully means happily. And after that procession and all, the poor couple went to the palace with much happiness. But when the greedy neighbor heard of it, he took some of the magic ashes and went out on the highway. There he waited until a daimyo's train came along, and instead of kneeling down like the crowd, he climbed a withered cherry tree. And again, that wicked couple heard about this incident, about this ash. And likewise, the rice farmer did. He was ready to do the same. That means he took some of the ashes, and though in some of the places though we can see one procession was going on, and at that time this wicked man went near a cherry tree and he climbed that tree and he was ready to do like the rice farmer. And when that procession was going near that cherry tree, he took some of the ashes and he put in the tree. And what happened? Yes, when the daimyo himself was almost directly under him, he threw a handful of ashes over the tree, which did not change a particle. That means he took some of the ashes and he put on the tree, and what happened? Nothing happened there. Instead, the wind blew the fine dust in the noses and eyes of the daimyo and his wife. Such sneezing and choking, it spoiled all the pomp and dignity of the procession. So, and suddenly here comes a strong wind, and that ashes that spread all over that place, and that made the daimyos and his wife sneezing and choking. That made them very disturbance, and that procession that had been stopped there. The man whose business it was to cry, "Get down on your knees," seized the old fool by the collar, dragged him from the tree and tumbled and his ash basket into the ditch by the rod. Then beating him soundly, he left him for dead. And that wicked man, he stopped that procession and he made that place very dusty and dirty by putting the ashes, and he was punished, and some of the bodyguards of the daimyos punished him and beat him, and at that time he was dead because of that strong beat from the bodyguards of daimyos. Thus the wicked old man died in the mud, but the kind friend of the dog dwelt in peace and plenty, and both he and his wife lived in a green old age. Dwelt, note down the word dwelt. Dwelt means to live. And after that, the old couple, the rice farmer and his wife, lived happily ever after. And green old age, that is a term that means healthy, active and prosperous old age. They lived in a healthy way. So here the story ends. The lesson titled as "The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom." So I can say this title, "The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom," this is very apt to this lesson. Hope this is clear. Read your textbook repeatedly. Thank you.